Well, in a game we just had to win, the Blues prevail. Final score 7-10-52. Carlton 12-14, 86. A 34-point win to our Blue Baggers. This is the review of the win at Optus Stadium on Sunday night. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought and what you think about the game. And who your standouts were, positives, negatives, make sure you let us know in the comment section below and share this video around. Let's get stuck straight into how we saw this game unfold. So again, what we see from Carlton, it comes as no shock. We start like a shot out of the gun, fly out of the blocks, and then we stagnate as the game progresses against inferior opposition. We've seen it against Richmond in a game we lost. We've seen it against Essendon the previous week in a game which we hung on and won, and we've seen it against Westcoast, the worst team in the competition, and the margins. Fair enough, but it probably should have been a little more. Having said that, look, we did have some injuries we were dealing with in that game, but I don't think it can excuse what we saw in the second half. But having said that, listening to what Charlie Curnow said post-game, he did suggest that it may have been directive for us to slow the game down, but that does not mean that you can continue or you lapse away on the scoreboard and you can't keep the scoreboard ticking over. So after quarter time, we only managed to score 5 goals, albeit 10 behinds. We did leave a lot of goals out on the park. Akers missed a very easy goal from effectively the goal square. Akers and Sam Doherty again in that second quarter probably went blazing away when they should have dished off a kick or dished off a handball, running in on goal in that second quarter when we were in complete control of the game. So the trend continues where we start strongly and then fade away. And against better opposition, it's going to be intriguing to see whether or not we can dart away as quickly as we have done so against Essendon and West Coast in the coming weeks and hold on, or if we can sustain playing really strong, assertive football for more than one quarter of the 4. So again, these are all questions that are going to be answered as time progresses and as the season progresses. But Charlie Curnow, we're dealing with his injury. Harry Mackay, don't like what I'm hearing about him. Looks like he could be set for surgery. He may miss that 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 weeks, which is going to be a frustrating venture for coaches, but it just means that there's an opportunity for someone else to step up. Hudson O'Keefe is probably going to miss weeks with the hamstring that he is having to deal with. He's had injury to that hamstring already this season, and that's probably a frustrating thing for him. But we'll start. Look, everybody knows what the issues are at the moment, whether it's in between the years, whether it's the way in which the coaches set us up. It's a myriad of factors. You can have a listen back to the BA show, the Monday show I did with Terry, to get a complete in-depth analysis of the holistic view of the club and why I think performances are resulting in what we're seeing out on the field week to week. But as much as we know what the issues are to a certain point, I want to focus on some of the younger kids in this particular match and just pick up some numbers that have come through. So I find this... It's an issue for us going forward, right? So we are, and if you look at WheeloRatings.com, great website. So if you look at our transition game, right? So this is where, you look to your teams, your premiership teams. You want to be in top 4, scores from defensive half. You change from D50 to forward 50, turning those into scores. Can you score on transition? I want to take I wouldn't say an overly optimistic approach with this, but it's sort of 2 and 3-fold and 4-fold. So if you look at our D50 to forward 50 ball movement, the proportion of change in that and the way we actually get opportunities. So we actually rank top 3 with our ball movement there, D50 to forward 50, according to Champion Data, right? Now, defensive half to forward 50, we rank top 4 in the league. So Gold Coast, Western Bulldogs and Brisbane rank ahead of us. The D50 to forward 50, we rank 3rd, and only Geelong and the Western Bulldogs rank ahead of us. So we're talking about some of the better teams in the competition. How we convert that into scores is one that the coaches and players need to figure out. Now, the question also, it begs another question where, is the reason our ball movement on transition from D50 to forward 50 and from defensive half to forward 50, solid because we drop players behind the ball. And in those initial moments, you may outnumber the opposition around that source from the initial beginning of the chain. Then you're able to actually get the ball inside forward 50. But because we have numbers behind the ball to start that initial chain and win the ball at the source and win the ball defensively and win the ball back defensively, do we leave ourselves a little short on the offensive end? I would say to a certain point that that is true. It's not always true, but I think that could be one of the main reasons as to why our numbers are inflated to a certain point. So striking that balance between making sure that you've got equal numbers behind the ball in order to fuel your offense, but then it also comes down to the physical capabilities of the players. Do you have players? And this is just creating an elite environment, whether that's physically or mentally. Do you have enough players that can run hard back as they do and then run hard forward? Do they have the commitment to defense like they do to offense and vice versa? So that's something that the coaches, strength and conditioning staff, and players themselves will definitely have to continue to answer and continue to vie towards if we want to become a very, very strong, sustainable, and consistently good and great football team. So, to go through some of our younger players in this particular fixture, and look, Cher and Hewitt were great again. Numbers high, but look, maybe the impact is a little bit low. Chera and Hewitt really those killers ball in hand. It'd be nice if we could have someone in there. I'd love to see what Jagger Smith. People are forgetting about this young man. I'd really love to see what he could do in a midfield where he's got bigger bodies to protect him. Maybe we are underselling the importance of the role that Jagger Smith would have played this year because I know people will say, "Oh, how's an 18-year-old going to turn your fortunes around?" And I understand, but not comparing him to Nick Dacos, but we've seen what Nick Dacos is able to do at Collingwood, and I think that is just a great case as to how a young player, irrespective of age, can really make a team far better than what they are. And maybe, just maybe next year we're going to see what this team is truly about. So we'll go through some of our youngsters on the list here. So we will start with Ollie Hollins, who I thought was really, really good. 24 touches, 536 meters gained, 13 handball receives, which is what we want to see from him. 5 intercepts to go with that as well. I really want to start to see him get on the end of some score chains as well. He was involved with 5 score involvements. So that's a very, very big positive for him. And for him now, it's really just starting to get that offensive chain going and getting people to come to the party with him with that overlap handball and that underlap handball and that overlap and underlap ball movement and that run and gun and running out of the ball. So I really liked his game. I think he's showing some leadership qualities in this match as well. I think he's taken another step in his career. He's progressed sensationally well. And for all the stick that and all the criticism the development gets at our football club, I think he's one that we can definitely hang our hat on. I really liked his game. Matt Carroll just doesn't fumble, this kid. 16 touches. He's really, really strong defensively, very, very brave with ball in hand and very, very brave aerially. I think we've found a really, really handy player here. Gives me Nick Newman vibes as well. Maybe he and Lockie Cowan can definitely, well, not maybe, they will definitely continue to learn off him. So I was really pleased with what I saw from him. Cooper Lord, love that little left foot hit up early in the game where he darted through traffic, and physically he's actually a bit of a specimen, this young man. So as much as we look towards these players being good with ball in hand, you can't underestimate their physicality. He's really taking that midfield spot as his own, and he's playing various roles across the team too. So can he be a little more threatening ball in hand? Yes, to a point. Has he got the most penetrating kick of all time? No, but he's got a very, very handy kick, and that's something that we need to continue to see. I really, really liked his game. Corey Durden and Jesse Motlop. Look, the two small forwards. Durden was the sub, so how much impact can he have? He came on for Charlie Curnow. Jesse Motlop, I thought his tackle pressure late in the game was actually really good. When the game was effectively won, he was still there in the clinches, fighting and scrapping for everything. So I know he cops a bad rap, and I know he didn't kick a goal, but I still think there's something there to work with. Again, I don't want to be I don't want to be overly optimistic, and I don't want to come across as being a sycophant because that's not what it is. But there's something to work with Jesse Motlop. So just sit tight with him. Just sit tight with him. I know people are raging and they want it now, and I understand that, but we've got a player to work with. And Jackson Binns, who I've been very, very critical of because he doesn't really have that. And again, when you're a pure outside player, we're not really asking you to be hard at the contest every single time. We want you to be on the outside. If you're a winger, we want you to keep your width. We want you to be an uncontested player. We want you to hurt the opposition ball in hand. Did he really hurt West Coast ball in hand? No. Was he an accumulator? Yes. Very similar to what we've seen in VFL grade, I think, with Jackson Binns, where he found a lot of the ball, and it was probably, with all due respect to West Coast, almost a VFL grade team. A lot of inexperienced players in that squad, and Jackson Binns feasted on the outside ball, but I want to see him be far more damaging with ball in hand. Can he be that player? Was it a game where you could be? Conditions were slippery and wet. That's probably no excuse, but this was more a pure wingman's role, which I really like from him. It's a game that I hope for his sake he can use as a foundation and a springboard for the rest of the season. Whether or not he does, whether or not he's got the mentality and other attributes to continue on improving and playing good, consistent football in that wing role, only time will tell. Look, again, I have my doubts, but he was solid enough. And I suppose looking towards the senior players, there are a few senior players down. Blake Acres was a little better in this game, but again, the caveat that it is against West Coast. Fogarty got involved on the scoreboard. Want to see more of that from him. McGovern, is this forward line venture going to continue? I would like to see it. Is this the Mitch McGovern we've been waiting for? The impactful forward. Is this the chapter in his career where we get to finally see what we initially recruited him for? A high impact forward. I'd like to see this moving into the North Melbourne game. I'd like to see this moving on for the next month. Brodie Kemp, we know, went down with that Achilles tear. Harry Mackay, I think he's going to miss, again, this is no insight, but I think he's going to miss weeks, if not months, with that nagging knee. I think Mitch McGovern could be the man. I think he could be the man moving forward to play in that forward line and play a focal point alongside Charlie Curnow. Isn't that a blast from the past? What we initially wanted when David Teague was our coach and Mitch McGovern came to the club on that big contract. Funny how things do the 180, eh? I'd like to see that going forward. So, again, look, how much can we take out of this game? Not a hell of a lot, but what we can take out of it is that what we've seen over the last couple of weeks has repeated itself again in this particular fixture. Start fast, stagnate. Don't think we really held on to a win to a certain point in that third quarter. West Coast were on top, but look, granted, they did challenge Geelong a couple of weeks ago, so maybe they are in better form than they've suggested over the entirety of the season. But look, Jumper Punch tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you've got any questions, please feel free to let me know. I'll venture to answer them on the JP on Tuesday night, and we will go from there. Looking forward to getting to the G on Saturday afternoon as well. Hopefully there's a big crowd there. Again, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them below, and we'll do our best to answer them on the Jumper Punch. Go Blues.